Hi everyone! Glad you could all make it. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Robin, and I have my booktube channel at the Book Wormhole, where I read mostly science fiction, but also some other stuff thrown in the mix every now and then.
I'm Johara, and you can find me at the Witchy Reader. I'm the same way, except it's mostly fantasy for me. So, what will you be reading today?
So I'm starting a book right now because I finished the book I was reading at work today. So I'm gonna be starting Several People Are Typing by Calvin Kasulk. I don't know too much about it. I just know it's like written entirely in like an instant messenger conversation style. So I think it's gonna be a really quick read. And I think it's supposed to be funny too. And it's a science fiction as well. So that's all I know about it. I haven't started it yet. So how about you? What will you be reading tonight?
I actually finished a book today too. I finished the Sixth Book of Seekers, but
Yay!
I am over halfway of another book, so I'll be continuing that, and that's King of Scars.
Nice.
I'm I'm over halfway done.
That's a big book too.
Yeah, it is. So I'm pretty sure it's like over 500 pages.
Oh yeah, 500 is where I start to get a little nervous.
Barely over
Uh,
500 pages. It's 511.
Yeah, still. But like I think I've mentioned before, like 300 to like 400 pages is kind of like my sweet spot with books. And then anything longer than that, I'm always like hesitant to start it because it's such a big commitment. And if I don't like it, I'm stuck with it for a while. But I read a lot of good books that are very long too, though. So it's like no indication of quality. It's just like, it's just scary for me to start a bigger book because of that.
Yeah, I get that, but this is part of the Grishaverse, which I've been reading, so I'm already
Mhm.
in the universe, so it makes it a little easier to start.
Yeah, so you're probably pretty sure you're gonna like this one if you've liked the other books in
Yeah,
this series so far. Nice.
definitely. Hi, glad you
Hey,
could
Leanna.
join us. What will you be reading today? We'd love to know. And anyone else who's out there, what are you guys reading? So, what was the book you finished earlier?
I just finished The Man Who Folded Himself, and like, for some reason, I was like so hooked on that book. I think I read it in 2 days,
Wow,
which is really, really fast for me, but like, I could not put it down. It was
that's a great
such an
feeling.
enjoyable read. Yeah.
Nice. Are you enjoying it? I've never heard of that.
Beyond the Ruby Veil. Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. It almost sounds like a mystery, but I'm not confident.
Nice. Are you enjoying that? I'm enjoying the book I'm reading. It's taking me a little bit longer than it did with Six of Crows, but that's because I got sidetracked because I was rereading Seekers.
Yeah, it's hard when you're doing multiple books at once, I think, but
Yeah, I read like three Seeker. I reread three of these Seeker books in like a week. I swear.
that's awesome.
Ugh.
Ooh, nice. You might be into that then, Johara, because you like fantasy.
Yeah, and YA.
Yeah.
YA fantasy is my thing. Nice. Well, I hope you enjoy it. So do you have any so I saw you posted a video.
I
I
did.
haven't watched it yet, but I plan to probably tomorrow.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I'm reading this book is so not to spoil the video, but I am like part of a judging panel for a literary award by different book bloggers, and I've been invited to judge. So I gotta like read everything though before I'm able to vote. So I have this like massive TBR now to get through.
Well, congratulations.
It's really exciting and a little nerve-wracking, but everyone's really chill
That's
and
good.
really cool, and there's a lot of different tastes going on too, so that's always interesting.
Yeah.
Books I wouldn't usually pick up, I'm gonna be reading, but
Yeah. That's
I'm looking forward to challenging myself, so
that's great.
yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 videos going up tomorrow, my reading and writing vlogs.
Nice, yeah, and I'm gonna be trying to do a reading vlog for while I'm reading all the books that
Nice.
are been nominated. So that's something new. I filmed the very first part of it, just like that I have this book and like my initial thoughts. So I'll probably film a little bit more of it after we're done with the sprint tonight. But like that's so new to me. I've never done a reading vlog before, so. I figured this was a good as time as any to start it. I
Yeah.
might get bored and stop, but we'll see. No promises.
Well, I believe in you.
Thank you. Ooh.
Hmm. Intriguing.
Scary, but that's accurate to the time too.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it'll be kind of an intense book.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Maybe even a thriller.
I'm guessing it. I mean, it kind of sounds like it might be like a thriller horror kind of thing then. Although it's called A Mind to Murder, so I would have assumed that would have been about like a serial killer or something.
Maybe the serial killer in the psych clinic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering like, yeah, is the serial killer the bad guy or are we following their perspective? Historical mystery.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Fun. I finally watched the third Conjuring movie a few days ago, and I
Oh,
loved
nice.
it.
I don't think I've seen the third one yet. No, I haven't. I know that. But you liked it?
Yes, it was really good.
Nice. I'll have
It
to
was,
watch it.
yeah, you do. You need to. It was different than any case they'd ever had to do because
Mhm.
the main bad guy was technically human. Because it was
Ooh.
she's a Satanist, someone who worships the devil. So
Yeah.
she had the so she was so yeah, the spirits was doing the killing, but she was the one that was controlling the spirits with her altar. So in the end, they had to fight a human, not a spirit,
Oh.
which
Yeah,
is
that
different
is
than anything they
really
had to do.
different for The Conjuring, but I kind of like that. I feel
Yeah,
like I enjoyed The Conjurings, but they didn't really scare me. And I think maybe because it was too much like spirit stuff that I'm like, oh well, like I don't believe and that like when it's like a human, then it feels a little more real. But
well, the Conjurings are based off true stories.
yeah, yeah, but they're a little dramatized.
Yeah. Um, I know I was watching a few things about like the truth of the Ed and Lorraine Warren, like some of the stuff they have in their museum and some of the things that happen in some of their caseloads and stuff. And um, apparently, before Lorraine and Ed hasn't actually died sometime in the 2000s, so it hasn't actually been that long.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they were really old when they died.
Yeah.
Before they did, Lorraine made a comment that the final exorcist with the mom in the Conjuring movie didn't happen like that because um, Ed never would have done it, even
Hmm.
if they had to wait for the priest, because it would be too dangerous, and you kind
Yeah.
of need like a priest to do it anyways. They just did that for the movie to make it all intriguing.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like they took inspiration from like the real events, but definitely did a lot of embellishment. Like moments like that. That's way more dramatic than him being like, no, we gotta wait for the priest.
Right.
Like, you know. Um, Serial killers were not profiled until for some reason I couldn't read. I thought it said profited. I was like,
Wait, they're
that
being
makes
profited
sense.
now?
Yeah. I was like, what?
I don't think so.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, obviously there were like murders before them, but I guess like the
The
like
profiling wasn't a thing.
yeah.
Mom said she was in high school before she even started really hearing about them profiling.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. That must have been such an interesting change to live through. Because for us, like we've always grown up with
yeah,
it, you know.
but
So
she wished she did know about it sooner because that's something she's really into.
oh
She
yeah.
loves she loves like forensic files and Snap and stuff like that.
Nice. I like
Yeah, I
paranormal stories. My favorite is probably like psychological horror movies that kind of like not so much like ghosts, but more just like stuff that makes you think, I guess. Because that stuff gets in my mind, and that's the stuff that freaks me out.
I don't get scared that easily.
Same.
So I wouldn't say like The Conjuring didn't. I wouldn't say actually really scared me,
Mm-mm.
but I still love it. It's definitely my favorite thriller. I absolutely love those movies. Whether or not they actually scared me is another thing. But I've been watching horror movies since I was pretty young. A lot younger than a lot of people start watching horror movies, considering they're horror movies. But
Right.
I've been watching Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street since I was probably about 5.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't that young when I got started. I think I was like 11, and back then I was super, super like easy to get scared. Like I would watch a movie in the daylight, and then like nighttime comes, and I'm like, oh my god, like what if this happens to me? Like freaking out and like not able to sleep. But I remember seeing like Bela Lugosi's Dracula when I was like in elementary school, and that scared the pants off of me. And then I rewatched it again in high school, and I'm like, this is such a tame movie. Like, it's just like I don't know why it scared me so much back then, but like rewatching it like years later, I was just like, oh, this is good, but it's not really scary, you know.
Yeah,
But
definitely. I know. It's so. Something funny happened. But so when I long time ago, my sister Fantasia snuck up behind my mom late at night and watched American Pie, and my mom and was like halfway through the movie before my mom knew she was behind her watching it, and then my really younger sister Porcelain did something similar with me. One summer when Dad and I were watching The Girls. It was really late at night, and I thought all the girls were asleep. I was up late watching Scream the series, and
mhm.
I did not know that she was behind me watching it. I probably got through a few episodes before I knew she was behind me, and she liked that show. I was like,
That's so
yes, one of my
adorable.
siblings like horror like me.
Yeah.
But to this day, when I reference that, I always say she pulled a Fantasia.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantasia started it.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
Brenda.
Mom. That's okay. Will you be reading? She started the second book in The Guardians today. She
Oh,
finished the
wow.
other book in 2 days. That's a
Oh
world
my
record for her.
gosh. Like, she's on a roll. Like, I feel like when she first started joining us, she was like, oh, I don't read much. Like, if I read one book a month, I'll be fine. And now she's read 2 already, on to 3. That is
Right?
fantastic. Keep it up.
Reading a book in 2 days is a record for her. I'm very proud.
That
I
is
was
like
surprised.
super, super fast for me. And like I'm always reading.
I went,
So
I went
that's really impressive.
Yeah, I went up there this morning and she told me that. I was like, really? And I said that like several times in a row. I was like, really? Because I
Yeah.
couldn't actually believe it. I thought she was trying to pull my leg or something.
Well, it sounds like she enjoyed it, if
Yeah,
she got through it so
that's
fast.
great.
So yeah.
She's also been she's more into gaming now, like not much into like PlayStation or anything. She plays the Wii U. She loves Mario and Luigi, but she's not into
Yeah,
like
those are fun.
Xbox or PlayStation that much. She's played PlayStation a few times, but she's mostly into gaming on her iPad. But she's been bored with a lot of her
Mhm.
games, even the ones on my Wii U. So she's been bored because she doesn't know what else to do. So she's been reading more.
Nice. My mom's the same way. She likes to game a lot on her iPad, but now she's gotten really into doing puzzles, like jigsaw puzzles. So that's been her new thing. But she's
Nice.
also usually a big reader too, but she's kind of in a slump right now. So,
Huh.
but she's got her puzzles is her thing now. So,
Puzzles are my dad's thing. I remember I would when I was younger, he'd be in the basement working on puzzles, and I'd go down there and help him with it. I remember
yeah.
that he had this one um, Statue of Liberty puzzle, but it got lost in one of the moves. So a few years ago,
Oh,
Father's Day, I bought him a new 3D Statue of Liberty puzzle because that's one that he used to do when I was younger. So I bought that.
oh, that's so sweet. What a sentimental gift.
He still has it. Last time I was at his house, he has it
That's
he has it all
awesome.
done and on a shelf.
Yeah. Ooh.
There's
I mean, the serial killer things is so scary. I'm oohing at the second part with the paranormal experience. I'm like,
so the house I'm living in is haunted. I'm not even joking.
oh
Stuff
no.
happens. No joke. There's been times where
Oh.
the doors would close or we would hear footsteps and no one's there. Both mom and I have seen like figures in the dark, and then once we turn on the
Mhm.
light, they would be gone. It's like
Oh
one
my
minute there was someone
gosh.
there, and then the next day was. My mom this morning told me that she felt someone touch her arm, but no one was there.
That's so creepy. What's the creepiest thing that happened to you, Leanna? What's the creepiest paranormal experience you've been through?
Yeah, we love
A
to
child
know.
in the 50s. You're probably about my mom's age, to be honest. She was like a child growing up in the 50s as well. I'm so glad you're enjoying it, Brenda. That's awesome.
Now it's my new goal to get her to read Seekers. She won't.
Yeah.
I really want her to read Seekers.
Really? Why not?
I don't know. Well, she's not that big into reading anyways,
That's true.
and Seekers wouldn't really be her forte probably.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, honestly, I'm a little surprised I liked it since I mostly read fantasy all my life.
Yeah, it's kind of like the one like exception for you it seems cuz
This.
like everything else you like is so like far off from Seekers it seems, but
Well,
hey.
I want to finally read Aaron Hunter's other books. I've already started Warriors in high school, but I never finished. So I plan to finally
Mhm.
finish that and read Survivors and Bravelands.
I know like Warriors itself is really long, isn't it? Isn't it like at least 30 books, I think? Am I thinking of
Longer than
something?
that.
It's longer than that? Oh my
It has
goodness.
so in the actual series itself has 42, I believe now. And then there's 14 super editions, several novellas
Mm.
and mangas.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's a big series. Did it ever end Warriors Cats or is it still going on? Excuse me.
I think it's still going on because the last super edition
Mhm.
just came out and so did the last arc. So
Oh
I'm
wow.
pretty sure it's still ongoing.
I
I
don't
haven't
think I could do that.
instantly,
That's
but
too long. I will like read a long series if it has an end. But I'm like, what if it just keeps going? It just stresses me out too much when series get that long.
Boo you! She said it'll never happen.
You say that now, we'll see. Time will tell.
I just want more people to read Seekers. I
There
saw,
has got to be other people out there that like Seekers as much as you do, but they just haven't found your channel yet. And someday they will. Like I guarantee you, there's people out there that like it as much as you do.
I know. It's just very hard to find. I did find this one
It is.
TikTok. I don't go on TikTok very much. I'm mostly on it because Alyssa and my mom send me TikToks. But
Mhm.
every so often, I do also want to join Book Talk and promote my books and stuff. But
That's a good
so,
idea. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll go on Book Talk every so often just to see what's there, what people are recommending. And I was on it earlier, and I decided to type in Seekers. I didn't think they'd actually have it, considering how underrated it is. But there were only a few videos, but there were some that were Seekers related, and there was one that someone was talking about the fifth book, which is very funny because when I found it, I was still reading the fifth book.
Oh wow,
Very
that's
funny.
crazy. The
But
irony.
uh, and then I was looking at the comments, and there weren't that many, but there's a couple people saying how much they love Seekers and how it's very underrated. I was like, yes, my peeps are here.
See, there you go. Well, like hopefully, like you find like the people on TikTok, and then bring them over to YouTube. Bring them to
Yeah.
BookTube. Come on, like come to
Yeah.
BookTube's better.
You
I
guys want
can't.
some Seekers content? I'm the booktuber to go to.
Right, exactly. Like I know Book Talk is like really popular right now, and I understand it's really a useful tool for selling books, but like I can't do it. I don't like TikTok. It's too much for me.
I'm
So
not a huge fan of TikTok, but will do anything to promote my books.
that's
Um,
understandable, though. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't used to like the thing that was on before TikTok replaced it, Musically. I don't know if
Yeah,
you used that, but that was
I
fun.
never used it, but I like my friends used it, so
It
I
was
know of it.
yeah.
Yeah, you're a little bit older than my mom, but hard time. Everyone else fell asleep, and I felt my energy draining, but I refused to fall asleep. Saw a dove come out of the ceiling. Oh, landed on her chest and disappeared. Then she was just fine. That's
Weird.
like almost seems like divine intervention or something.
Huh,
It's
interesting.
so yeah. Ooh, that's cool though.
Yeah. Interesting. But since I finished the first arc of Seekers, I will
Hmm.
be starting my series of videos I told you about, where I talk about an underrated series.
That's
I'm splitting
awesome.
I'm splitting Seekers into two since there's 12 books. I'll do like the first arc,
Right.
and then once I finish the second arc, I'll do a video for that. So probably sometime next month I will do the video about Seekers. So I'm so excited to
Nice.
finally start this series. I've been talking about it for a few months now.
Yeah, yeah, you've been talking about it for a while, so it'll be nice to get that out there. And then you can get your folks from TikTok to watch it.
Yeah,
Like,
be
hey,
like,
I'm
hey,
talking
you guys
about
want Seekers
Seekers.
content? Here you go.
Right.
Yeah. I know
Not my
Seeker
weekly
fans are
cup appropriate for ours talking about paranormal stuff.
right. Definitely. Uh, I know people. There's Seeker fans out there. They're just very hard to find.
I feel the same way with like trying to find science fiction people on BookTube. So like I feel for you. Um, but like that doesn't mean they're not out there. It's just,
Yeah.
we're just somehow not connecting, not finding each other. So, but it'll happen. Persistence is key. And then I think as soon as you do like solo, like secret videos, like you said, with the underrated series you want to do, like that will probably help people find you, who are
Yeah.
searching seekers on YouTube, then you might come up. So,
I
yeah.
feel like out of Aaron Hunter's books, Warriors is a lot more popular than their other books.
It was the only one of Aaron Hunter's series I really knew of growing up. I didn't read Warriors, but like I knew so many people who did, so like I was so aware of this series, but I didn't really realize that they wrote anything else, you know?
Yeah, Secrets was actually the first one I discovered. I still remember the day I discovered it. No joke.
Hmm.
I was at the school library with a couple of my friends, and I remember one of them coming up to me, and I was like, "Hey, I found a book about bears you might be into," because even back then I was obsessed with bears. So she
Yeah.
led me to where she found it, and then I read the back, and it sounded interesting, and it was about bears, so I had to give it a try.
And then there you go. The rest is history.
Right?
That's cool. Yeah, I was wondering like what came first, the bear obsession or Seekers?
I've been obsessed with bears probably since I was given my first bear, and I have a lot of them now. Like,
Yeah.
I just have a lot.
Yeah.
And that's only the stuffed animal parts. I have like a bunch of figurines out in my
You got
library.
the
I have the,
portrait right
and,
behind
then,
you.
and then I have another one of a brown bear that also moves. So yeah, I have a tad obsession.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Oh. We did Ouija by using Scrabble letters, small paper with a yes on one and no on the other, and overturned glass that we each touch lightly with one finger. That sounds like the way to do it. Like, I feel like buying an actual Ouija board to, like, do it with is kind of boring. You know? That sounds way cooler. I've never played Ouija before. I'm not like superstitious, but at the same time, I'm not chancing fate either. So I
Yeah,
won't play with one.
this is a motto I say constantly. Alyssa and my mom will probably agree, which is that um, the non-believers are going to get the rest of us killed.
Yeah.
Because I swear, like on everything, like Hocus Pocus.
Hmm.
Why did the witches come back? Because Max did not believe. The sequel book, the witches
Hmm.
came back again because his daughter Poppy did not believe. And the movie Ouija, it happened because she did not believe.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then a bunch of people died because they didn't believe. So I always say the non-believers are gonna get. You don't have to believe, but don't chance fate for the rest of us, because
That's me.
we don't deserve to die because you don't believe. I mean, I remember when I was in high school. I think I was in high school. Fantasia had bought a Ouija board, and her best friend back then had convinced her to, because my mom was like, "No Ouija board in the house," because
Uh-uh.
no, you don't chance fates like that.
Hmm.
So, but she did it anyways, and snuck it in without my mom knowing, and I was like, "Wow."
And now your house is haunted.
So I blame her. It's her fault.
She released the
You
ghost.
know that, mom? It's Fantasia's fault. She sent this ghost on us years ago. It
I mean, it's
followed us.
possible they were already there, but yeah, I don't want a Ouija board in the house. Like, I love Ouija prints and I love watching movies and stories about it, but I won't play it myself because even though I don't quite believe in it, I don't want to tempt fate. Also, I would probably die first in a horror movie. I'm like
Well,
I'm
I
not
do
gonna
believe
flatter
in it.
myself.
Yeah, I do believe in it.
Mhm.
I believe in the paranormal and everything. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to tempt fate. I'm not going to do a seance and um or bring back a deadly spirit that's going to kill us all,
Mhm.
or bring back some evil witches
Yeah.
who got hung.
Yeah, that's why like you don't play with a Ouija board. I don't know how to properly use one. Like I would release a demon. Like
There are rules to follow, which you learn
yeah,
from the movie Ouija. But still, do you really want to risk it? That's
yeah. That's why I'm not tempting it. I don't want to like play it with a expert either. Like no, I'm not doing it.
yeah. According to the movie Ouija, the rules are never play alone.
Hmm.
Um, always say goodbye before you you know get off of it. And never take your hands off of the I forgot what it's called, but the thing
Yeah, yeah,
until you like say goodbye.
nice. Yeah. I feel like so many movies broke those rules, and that's why everyone died. Like,
Right? That's why they died
yeah.
because the girl at the very beginning that ends up dying played alone. But she isn't here to suffer. Right? She was like, "Here, have these spirits. Bye."
Right, yeah. She just like dumped the spirits on you guys and left.
Yeah. But when we first bought this house, there was this. First of all, the landlord says it was like a really old house, and the landlord said he didn't know the last time someone lived in it. And it just the moment we stepped in, it had the vibe of a haunted house.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. I've been in like older buildings like that, and it's like there's something here. There's some history here, you
Yeah,
know. You can just feel the energy.
definitely. Do you want to do the first sprint?
Sure. Yes, I'm gonna start my book.
Awesome. How about the top of the hour?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay. Happy reading, everyone.
Happy reading.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. How was your sprint?
Pretty good. I got 53 pages in, but like I said, it is like all in like text message, so it's very quick to read. Um, so yeah, I think I'm gonna get through it really fast, but
Great.
I don't know if I like it so far. The humor's kind of dry. I feel like whenever I read a book that's supposed to be funny, the humor just doesn't work for me. And I really like the writing style though, because it's pretty much like a Discord chat, and like as someone who uses Discord, it's kind of funny to see a story written that way. So I appreciate that about it. But the actual story is kind of dry and not funny. So
Cool.
that's my thoughts so far on it. How is your sprint going? How did your sprint go?
Pretty good. I got done with a chapter and then several pages of the next chapter. I'd say about halfway of the next chapter, so I'm doing pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean I'm liking it. I don't like it as much as Six of Crows. I'm
Mhm.
thinking I might end up rating it 4 stars, which is still a really good rating. But
Yeah.
I am enjoying it. It's a little slower than the others. Um, but I like it.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm still buddy reading this with Jessica. It's taking us a little longer for this because we've both been like busy and sidetracked with other stuff as well. You know, life gets in the way.
Right, yeah.
But neither one of us are trying to rush the other. We're like, we'll just read it at our own pace. We'll get there eventually.
Right. I'm very relaxed when it comes to buddy reads too. Usually I'm like, okay, like we got all month to read this book. Like when we finish it, then we'll talk about doing a live show. So
Yeah, definitely. uh, how's everyone else's sprint? Let's see. We have a comment.
JV. That sounds so productive that you did both a nap and you
Right.
still did 14 pages. Like I need to do that for myself.
It's like I took a nap, but I still read 14 pages.
That's still very good. I feel like if I
Yes.
can read 14 pages in a half hour, that's really good timing, especially if it's a very dense read. I feel like I those go a lot slower for me, but
Yeah.
uh yeah, it sounds like a quick read for me, especially since it's sapphic. Is have you gotten to the romance bits of it yet then? Or is the romance just all the way throughout it? I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the book that you're reading, so
Yeah, neither am I. But I hope you're enjoying it so far, even though you're only 14 pages through.
yeah.
And there are some books that catch your attention from the very first page. Those books are
Those are my favorite.
right. If a book
Yeah.
can catch your eye from the very first page, they're doing something right.
I always like work so hard to make my very first sentence as interesting and like capturing as possible just because like me as a reader, I will sometimes like go through my shelf and like open a book and read the first line, and if I'm compelled to read the next line, I'll read it. And I've actually bought books that way too, so I try to make sure that my writing also reflects like my desires as a reader. So, but
Yeah.
it's a tall order too to think like, oh, first line has to really capture the audience from the bat.
Yeah, that can be difficult. I started a new book. I'm still mostly working on The Witch of Lights, considering I want to get it
Hmm.
published soon. But I figured I can get this started, and then I can simultaneously work on this and the sequel series,
Yeah.
and get them both out. Uh, and I only wrote the prologues. I almost said prequel. No, wrong word. I almost I wrote the prologue. That's all I've written so far, but I'm very happy with how it turned out.
Nice. Which story is this idea? I feel like I have a general idea of all of the story ideas you have. So.
This is one about a vampire and a werewolf.
I haven't heard about this one. This is a different one then.
It also has to do with a witch and a warlock. Um, but yeah, uh, there's a lesbian relationship with the vampire and werewolf. Cause
I
why not?
like it. No more like werewolf versus vampire stuff. Let them have a relationship and be lesbians. I love that.
Thanks. But the prologue was very intense.
Mhm.
Because it's about the vampire, and it's like centuries ago, back
Yeah.
when he like first turned, and I'm very happy with how it turned out.
That's so cool. I'm really excited for that idea. That's definitely a book I'm gonna buy, I think, when you publish it because
Thanks. Uh,
I I never can find vampire books I really want to read, but because it is sapphic too, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to read that.
maybe I'll send you the prologue, give you a sneak peek.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to look it over. That's really cool and exciting though that you started that.
Thanks. It'll be a trilogy.
Nice. I still gotta get back into writing myself, but I finished my fanfic and I published that.
Yay!
So I'm no longer distracted by that. Um,
Now you can work on your story.
Now I gotta work on my story.
uh,
Ooh.
wow. Some introduction line.
Now that would definitely get me to read on. Just I finally broken her. Like, oh my goodness.
My first line of the prologue I just did was literally just two words for the first sentence, and it's she ran.
I like that though, because you start on an action and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so who's she running from? Like, is she in danger? Like, yeah, I like that because it just brings so many questions to mind that you're like, I want to read on. But that sounds really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Nice. Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting back into writing, but I'm also getting almost eager to get back into editing just because I talked to my
Really?
editor the other day and like my first two chapters are very rough and like I know that about them
Yeah.
and I couldn't figure out what wasn't working with them and he like pointed some things out and I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." And like now I kind of know what I need to do to make them better. So
That's
I'm
good.
like kind of eager to get back at it, but like he's still not finished looking through the whole thing and I would rather work on it once he's seen the whole
Yeah.
story.
And then you can worry about getting all the edits done at once.
Exactly, yeah. So
You can just work simultaneously edit that book and then write your new book.
that's what I was hoping to do, and that's why I'm so anxious to start writing another book because I want to get that to like if I can get like my first draft done on another book, and then I can put it aside and work on editing the book I have finished already. Like that would make me so happy because I need to take a break after I finish writing a first draft. Like I need that space away from it before I can go back into editing it because it's just too close to me. I just don't see errors. Um, so like it would just be like ideal for me if I could like always have like a project at different stages to like bounce around with.
True. This is what it's gonna be like for this. I'll be editing Curse's Light while writing this the start of this new trilogy.
Right. And then also it's like, okay, like if you don't feel like writing today, but you feel like editing, you can edit Curses Lights and
Or vice
then vice
versa.
versa. Exactly. So it just feels like it would be a lot more productive if I can do that. But like this is like the first book I wrote. So like I'm still like getting into the motion.
You've got this.
Ooh, that's so
Yay!
exciting. Let us know what your whip is about. And also, Johara has a writing Discord that she manages, so you might be interested in joining that. And we also both do weekly writing sprints on Mondays, so we would love to have you
Yeah,
there.
definitely. 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m.
hmm
Eastern. And we switch back and forth from our channels. This week it's on my channel.
I was gonna
Next
say,
week
I
will
think
be on hers.
Johara's
Yeah.
channel is gonna be next Monday, so I hope to see you there, JV, and also let us know
Yes.
what your whip is about.
Yeah. Are you writing fantasy?
Yeah, I'm imagining, since it seems like JV is a fantasy reader, probably
Yeah.
would write fantasy, but what
That's
kind of
how it works for
fantasy?
me.
Right, yeah. And same for me, I just write sci-fi because that's what I mostly read.
Yeah. I just put the
Oh yeah.
Discord in the chat if you wanted to join. We all just, talk about our writing, help each other, support each other. It's a great community. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I actually have 5 published books now. So
Oh my
exciting.
gosh. Yeah. That's crazy because you finished your one series and then now you're on the duology series
Mhm.
that you're working on.
Yeah, Jasmine Press is officially finished. The prequel is published. Yay. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm working on the sequel to The Crystal Light,
Do
which
you
The
think
Crystal
you'll
Light is published too.
do you think you'll ever go back and revisit the Jasmine Perez universe and write a different story in that, or are you just like, nope, this is all I have to say on it?
I feel like there's just so much more that could be said. I'm not sure a sequel series would work, but I feel like there could be more prequels with different characters.
That would be
Um,
cool.
like I feel like Ben was just such a mysterious character at the beginning, and there's still a lot of his past that hasn't been fleshed out that could. And I'm pretty sure Ben is becoming a fan favorite of my readers so far. And
That's so
if
cool.
there's enough of a demand, I would consider writing a book about Ben, or maybe a book about Jax and Jenny, their days in the palace. Because there's more you
Nice.
found out. Because there's still stuff you don't entirely know about Jax and Jenny as well. Like, you find out that Jax is bisexual, and he actually was engaged to a guy before he fell in love with
Mm.
Jasmine. But he had a disease and died, and only Jenny knew of their
Aw.
relationship because he wasn't out or anything.
Mhm.
So there's just so
Does
much more.
homophobia exist in that world? I feel like I've asked that before and I don't remember the answer.
What was that?
Does homophobia exist in that world
Uh,
where like
uh, yeah, it's kind of in that realm. It's kind of like in the past, with the days of castles and queens and stuff. So, uh,
yeah.
being gay isn't technically right.
Mhm.
um,
I was curious because I knew it was like more of a high fantasy set and I was
yeah,
wondering how you did
but
that.
with Jasmine becoming queen, she, made it
Made some
legal and all that.
changes. That's cool. Yeah. I don't remember if I've asked that before, but I'm always curious about that because I feel like that's such an intentional choice. I
Yeah,
feel like when I do write a world that does have homophobia, that's because like I want to explore that. But also, a lot of my stories, I kind of just like having like gay people be able to exist without
yeah.
like facing any sort of hate, especially
That's
because I write about the future mostly.
yeah,
And
true,
it's like we're living with aliens and
true.
like we can have relationships with aliens. Why are we like all hung up on like having relationships with people of the same gender? Like,
Yeah, true. Um, that's usually what I like to do too. I like to make it um definitely okay, and I don't like to make it a big deal. I like to make it where it's like just a normal thing because it is normal,
hmm
It's not abnormal anymore. It's, the 21st century. But
right.
uh I also like to be realistic to my story, and because Jasmine is more in the past,
Hmm.
I wanted to be realistic with that, and so I added that to be more realistic for the time period.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
But the Curse's Light, everything's okay there because even though it is in this cursed town that's kind of away from the rest of the world, it's still in present time. So uh, it's everything's okay, and like every LGBTQ character was kind of just mesh. It was just mentioned in the passing. It wasn't even really, you know, like it wasn't really an issue when I wrote it out. And
Hmm.
when I was talking to Alyssa about that duology, I realized that all of the main characters, except for one, is LGBTQ, and I did not
Nice.
plan that. I found it funny as heck. I was like, "Yep, here's my LGBTQ cast."
Nice. Yay. Okay. You guys
No.
should be best friends. Like you and JB. You both like
Yes.
fantasy. A sapphic fantasy of a fairy tale retelling I love with Philippine mythology and folklore. That's really cool. I don't know like any Philippine mythology or folklore off the top of my head, so like I like that just to like learn something new. I feel like I'm kind of like bored of like Greek mythology because I studied it so much in school that I just want something new. And we
Yeah.
love a sapphic book.
True. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always interested in more fantasy LGBTQIA plus books because I have not read nearly enough.
Right.
I feel like the only ones I've read, besides the ones I wrote, because all the books I write have LGBTQ somewhere in it,
Hmm.
especially asexual characters. I'm making it my mission to write asexual characters. Um,
Nice.
but I know Hocus Pocus and the all new sequel has a lesbian couple, and then the Grishaverse has a few. Six of Crows had a gay couple, and then later on in Shadow and Bone, in the last book, there's a lesbian couple.
Nice.
So, and you get to see that lesbian couple a little bit more in King of Scars because they're present and they're married now, and I got so happy about that.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like usually when I read outside of science fiction, it's because there's some sort of LGBT rep in the book, but also sci-fi is so palatable for like LGBT storylines too. So there's a lot of that in there. So,
I feel
but
like there's
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like there's plenty of fantasy with it. It's just I don't find it very easily, apparently.
right. I feel like I've mostly seen like gay fantasy. I haven't seen too many lesbians in fantasy, so I don't know if you would prefer that. I haven't really seen ace rep in fantasy, but also I don't read that much fantasy, so like I'm
Yeah,
only
well,
seeing this tiny portion of it.
I love
So
both lesbian and gay. And then
yeah,
with Ace, I just feel like there's not much rep in general, let alone
right.
fantasy. Not it's not very represented in TV and books, and it's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine it is probably really disheartening. I think I've seen only Ace Rep in like two books I can think of. So, but that's not much compared to all of the books I read in life. That is nothing. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Uh I wish there was more, but that's why I'm making it my mission to, write ace characters in fantasy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Curse's Light, there's actually two asexual characters.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the MC is asexual. She's an asexual biromantic, which means
Hmm.
she likes both boys and girls, but romantically. And then her ex, who is also her childhood best friend, is an asexual homoromantic, like I am.
Nice. Cool. Ooh.
Huh.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna look this up so I
Yeah.
can the once and future king.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, that one is. That one's new to me too.
I don't.
But I don't know that much fantasy, that's why.
Yeah, I don't read much retellings. I am reading the Twisted Tales series. So, but that's about it. I don't read much retellings outside of that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I think retellings are super cool and I love how like authors have been like using it to kind of like reclaim these stories that have been so like straight and white and like
Right.
you know so like I have mad respect for that, but also like a lot of like the stories that are being retold, it's like, well, I didn't even really like the original that much, so I don't have as much interest in it. But I think it's just such a cool concept. It's just not overall for me.
Yeah.
But
But if it was a fairy tale you like, that's a difference.
right, yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, with the
yeah,
Twisted Tales series, I don't plan on reading all of them. I mean, there's some fairy tales they've redone that I don't like. Like there's a Twisted Tales of Cinderella, of Snow White. I've never been a huge fan of those. A Peter Pan,
yeah,
that one.
yeah. I just read a retelling of Peter Pan and like it blew my mind because like I honestly wouldn't have picked it up, but my one friend who is also a huge science fiction reader too, he was just like raving about it, and I was like, okay, this is a weird choice for you. And the fact that you're telling me to read it, I gotta see what this is about. And it was so amazing. It really was a very thoughtful retelling.
Mhm.
But I never would have picked it up on my own. I wouldn't have, because there's so many Peter Pan retellings, and like Peter Pan's just like okay in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like surprises like that though. I like picking up a book that I don't think I'm gonna like and then ended up loving it like that. It's
That's
a fun experience.
true. I don't usually pick up a book I don't think I'm going to like. Because like I explained, I stay in my little bubble, and that's why most of my reads are 4 or 5 stars. Probably similar with you.
Yeah, I go
But
off of recommendations a lot though, and because like okay, like this is a friend who is always really recommending me things that I love, like I trust his judgments, you know.
true.
So that's the only reason I do read way out of my comfort zone, is if I have someone who's telling me like this is really good and I trust them.
True.
I'll
Um
take the chance.
yeah. Uh Hopefully you haven't been too disappointed so far.
Besides that Scooby Doo retelling, but we we talk
We don't
about that
talk about that.
every live stream. I've complained about it because it was so upsetting.
We don't talk about the Scooby Doo retelling. The
Oh
Scooby
my
Doo
god,
retelling does not exist in these live
it's dead
streams.
to me. It is absolutely dead to me.
But yeah, I mean I was that way with Six of Crows. I was actually not expecting to like it, surprisingly, because I mean
Really?
I only read it because it's part of the Grishaverse, and I decided to start the Grishaverse. But when I first joined BookTube, I heard a lot about Six of Crows before Shadow and Bone.
Yeah.
Um, Shadow and Bone only started. I only started really hearing about Shadow and Bone once the TV show was talked about. But I was
Yeah.
already hearing Six Crows because that was already really popular, more popular than Shadow and Bone. And but
Absolutely.
whenever people mentioned it, I never thought it was fantasy because no one actually talked about the magical part of it. Because magic was more of a part of Shadow and Bone than Six of Crows, but there was still magic in
Yeah.
it. They mostly talked about the theft and the big grand heist that they were doing. That's what everyone talked about. They never talked about the magical aspect. So I didn't even know it was fantasy when I first heard about it. But when I decided to finally read the Grishaverse before I watched the TV show, uh, Jessica and I decided Buddy read Six Crows and Kiga Scars, and I went in that book so hesitant. I was sure I wasn't going to like it, and I was pleasantly surprised. It is now a new all-time favorite series. I love Six of Crows. I became so obsessed with it. Alyssa and my mom both got very tired of me talking about the crows. That's how bad it was. So I'm very glad I ended up picking it up because if it wasn't for me reading the Grishaverse, I never would have.
See, that's awesome. And it was slightly out of your comfort zone too. I feel like I was the same way kind of with Dune. For some reason, I had it in mind that I wasn't going to like Dune. And then I finally read it because it's like one of the most popular classic sci-fis. I felt like I had to read it. And I ended up liking it. I rated it 5 stars. I'm not obsessed with it like you are with The Crows, but like I was really pleasantly surprised because I was just like I felt like I had to like drag myself to read it. I ended up buddy reading it because I'm like, I'm not gonna finish it if I don't like. But I ended up really liking it. So
That's good.
yeah. Hi, has anyone heard of a Robin Hood retelling? I think that's one of my favorite folk tales. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I
No.
gotta say I like Robin Hood too.
Um, Robin Hood's okay. It's not one of my favorites. Um, yeah, I don't know of any. I don't even think there's a Robin Hood retelling out of the Twisted Tales series. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, like,
I'm sure you
I
can look
really
it up.
like the concept of like, like stealing from the rich and giving to the poor.
Yeah.
But I don't know if like that trope constitutes as a like Robin Hood retelling, but like I've definitely read books like that kind of follow that same trope. But I don't know of any Robin Hood retellings. I'm so sorry for failing you, Liam.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I feel like there's gotta be because it's gotta be a popular one.
Huh. Okay, I found something right away. It's called Marian, Princess Thief, a Robin Hood retelling. I'm guessing it's
Okay,
about his female friend.
that kind of sounds cool because
Yeah,
it's her instead of Robin Hood. That
yeah, that does sound kind of interesting.
that sounds good.
Ooh, I just found a thing that says 22 YA Robin Hood retelling so good they should be outlawed. So apparently there are plenty. It's just a matter of finding them.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, look it up, check some of these out. You might like them.
Yeah, let us know if you do read them and like them. So then
Yeah,
we'll have recs to give people. It was called Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero, I think was the author. I know there's been a couple of Scooby Doo retellings, and not all of them suck, but that one sucked. It was a 1 star read. I finished it and I hated it. And
I
literally, the further I got in the book, the more I hated it, the more what
I
went wrong with it.
I still remember last October when you were reading it for the Monster High Readathon. You were that was probably one of your most excited reads for that month. You were so excited for it, and I remember us talking about it throughout the month as you were trying to get through it, and you were like complaining about it over and over again. I was like, "Wow, I'm so sorry that it's not as good as you hoped." I feel like your
I
expectations were so high for that one.
They were. I was so excited for that one.
Of
It
course, it's
sounded
Scooby
like
Doo.
so much fun. I love Scooby Doo. I love the concept of it, but the execution was terrible. It was a bad book.
I I remember when um uh we were talking about it. I was like, maybe I should make a Scooby Doo retelling, make it good.
Yes. Honestly, please do. I haven't I know there's other ones out there, but I haven't been able to bring the courage to read another one after that disappointment. It's one of those
Oh,
things I'm gonna have to like get recommended to me, I think, because that was like I think I just like I don't know where I found it, but I found it somewhere online and I was like, oh, this looks dope. But I didn't like read any of the reviews, and that's like something I've learned is I should read reviews because I keep on picking up books that
true.
aren't good.
I get that, but I don't read reviews just because I feel like just because someone else doesn't like it doesn't mean you won't, and just because someone else does like it doesn't mean you will. And I also feel like
That's
it might
true.
turn you away from a book that might end up being a favorite of yours. And yeah, so I choose not to read reviews because I like to have my own opinions about it and not go into it hesitant or anything.
That's yeah, that's probably a good way to think of it.
Here, I will read a Scooby Doo retelling, and then I will let you know if you should read it.
Yeah, please.
I'll be like, hey, this book's really good, you should read it. Or I'll be like, nope, don't bother.
Please do. I'm not gonna waste another month like I did last time on a bad one. I think Robin Hood and Marian made an appearance in The Sword in the Stone by
Nice.
T.H. White. That does sound cool. I didn't realize they were like in the same time period. I don't know why it didn't occur to me.
The Storymaker trilogy, that's pretty good. And one of the main characters is actually the daughter of Robin Hood.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes. I didn't actually like her character though.
Oh, but that's disappointing.
Yeah, but the story itself wasn't actually that bad. I kind of I like it. The first book I rated 4 stars. The second book I rated 3 stars because it was in her point of view. And then the uh, third book, I think I rated 4 stars, but it's more of a 3.5 stars. But you can't
Yeah.
really do that on Goodreads.
I
So
know, it's so annoying.
or 4.5, not 3.5, but 4.5. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Give us half stars already. I think it might be that book because one of my issues with the retelling was that it went way too edgy for like no reason. And it like wouldn't follow up on like the different things. Like one of the characters was like an alcoholic and she just like stopped drinking at one point. Didn't go through withdrawal. It was so unrealistic and
Fossils.
like they would have like these like traumas added to them just to like be exciting or quirky or whatever, but like they wouldn't react realistically for those traumas, you know? And it was
Didn't you
like
say
pretty
you hated? Didn't you say you hated the sapphic part of it?
the sapphic part was like it was so bad representation that I can't believe this book came out in 2017. Like whenever I read something that's from like the 90s or the 2000s, sometimes it's like okay, like this might be a little homophobic, but like that was the time period. But like 2017, like learn your stuff. Like
Yeah,
how
like
did like this not go through a sensitivity reader? Because that was so offensive.
true, because it's like yeah, some things you can even because some things that's older like that doesn't exactly age well, no matter how much you still like the story overall. But
Yeah,
but if it is older, there are going to be those little things about it, like the TV
right.
show Soap I watch. It's basically a parody of soap operas, but I
Mhm.
like the first 2 seasons of it. It's really funny. It gets really bad though, because like because they just come, they everything just goes downhill after season 2. But the first 2 seasons are great. They're hilarious. Um, but Soap actually had the very first uh gay character on there, and they actually call him. They actually say he's gay, and he's the very first gay character on
Wow.
TV.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. So, and it was great. It was a huge milestone for gay people because it was their
Yeah.
first real representation. Um, and yeah, there could be some homophobia. Like, there's some people that had issues with him being gay, and I know his stepdad was very uncomfortable around him because of it and stuff.
Mhm.
But for what it wasn't as bad as you might think.
That's pretty
Surprisingly,
forgivable, to be honest. And when
because it
I
was the
like,
70s and it was the
yeah,
very first gay TV character. So the fact that they were able to make that milestone kind of makes the rest of it a little bit better.
yeah, like I always keep that in mind when I'm interacting with like older media, like
Yeah.
what came out, like when did it come out, like what was going on during that time period. So like I can kind of forgive some stuff,
Yeah.
but like
But if it came out
being
in 2017, there's no forgiveness for that.
it was like how did this get past like editors and like sensitivity readers? It just like didn't make sense to me how this got published as it was because it was just like I don't think any like LGBT person would have been okay with it. And part of the reason why I read it is because, oh, like the main character is a lesbian, and like her depiction was like so offensive. Like, just think of like the most offensive
Did
like
you say it was a
lesbian
little
stereotype.
toxic?
It was. So she was, well, like she was like butch, obviously, which is fine. Like, these butch women exist and deserve representation, but she was also like, she just fell into that like predatory lesbian trope where she was super into her one female friend who didn't have any attraction for her, and it was pretty much like one of those plots where it was like she wore down her friend into going out with her, and it
That's
just
so not okay.
didn't seem like her friend was into her at all, but they ended up getting together anyway. And even at the end, when they're together, her friend was still kind of just like, oh, like, I'm not really like into like the sex thing. And I'm like this isn't sweet at all. This is not cute. This makes me so uncomfortable to read. And like,
And that would be hard for people like you and me who are lesbians.
and I've had people like treat me like they didn't want to be in the same room with me because they thought I would hit on them, and I'm like, girl, I have standards. Like, come on, like I don't like every single woman I meet. But like,
Right.
so like after having those experiences and reading this, it's like, this is so offensive that like people think that lesbians genuinely act like this, like that they're actually predators, and like predatorily gay is a really offensive stereotype that unfortunately has been perpetrated a lot through media.
Yeah.
So it's just like so shocking that that came out in 2017 and that it got okayed.
Yeah, I mean, things like that happen. I mean, um, I've never seen the TV show House. I don't know if you've heard of it, but apparently there was this episode that was really, I'm pretty sure that it was like one of the first asexual representation. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, considering asexual still isn't really out there that much yet.
Yeah.
But apparently, um, there's this episode where this a married couple went to a doctor and they're both asexual, but then I guess they ended up um it ended up explaining that it's the husband wasn't actually asexual. He just had a brain tumor that was messing with his sexual parts of his brain,
Ooh.
and the wife turned out to just be lying to make her husband feel better because she wasn't actually asexual. And when I
Oh,
found that out, I was like, I'm so glad I didn't see that, because that's so offensive to the asexuals. It's like you're
that is
saying that
so
we
offensive.
it's like you're saying that the only way to be asexual is if you have a brain tumor. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm like,
Literally.
what? There are
That
actually doctors out there that say if you're asexual, then there's something wrong with you. And not just doctors, people. Period. Like, if you're asexual, you're broken. Like, there's no such thing as asexual. Everyone has sexual attraction. No, they stinking don't. I am living proof.
right. I don't understand like hatred towards asexual people. Like, I know it exists, but like it doesn't make sense to me that it's like, why do you care if like these people are like, oh yeah, I don't want to have
Right?
sex. Do you go up to like nuns and be like, oh, like, how can you not have sex? Like, like, isn't that
Well,
wrong of you to like pledge yourself to like a life of virginity for your religion or something? Like, why don't people who will say that to you, why don't they say that to nuns? Like, it doesn't
right?
make sense
Well,
to
I
me.
think
It's
it's
like
because
none of their business.
I feel like it's because with nuns, they it's almost like celibacy. They choose
Yeah,
that. Asexuality is not a choice. I mean,
that's a
there's
very
plenty of
big point for
asexuals
me.
that still have sex. They just don't have that attraction part of it,
Right.
and they don't have a sex drive, basically. There's some asexuals that are disgusted with sex, period. There's others that even enjoy it, but uh just don't have that attraction. And then there's people in the middle who's just mad to it. They don't care one way or another.
Hmm.
um and I just it's not even that they're like, why don't you have sex? Like, is them saying that it's not real to be asexual, because everyone has to have sexual attraction.
No, they don't.
No.
that's that's crazy, but
Yeah. That's super offensive.
Yeah. That's smart.
Nice. Very, very good way of going into that.
For some reason, I've been like really into reading 1-star reviews of books that I really like, just because it gives me so much perspective when I hear like people being like, well, like one of the books that I absolutely loved this past month, and I read a 1-star review. They gave it a 1-star review because they didn't like that it took place during like climate change like is destroying the earth and there's all like this natural disaster because of it, and I'm uh, like that's just what the book is about. Like, why are you penalizing it for like being about what it's about? Like, obviously that's just not like this reader's cup of tea, so just put it down and read a different book. Like, why are you giving it a 1-star for this? It's funny to me to read
Yeah.
those reviews and be like, this is so uncalled for. So like, if you ever get a 1-star review on your book, don't take it too seriously because it's probably just not that person's cup of tea. Unless you
Yeah.
wrote that Scooby Doo book, in which case you deserve that 1-star and fuck.
I wonder if there's actually anything above a 1-star review for that book. I'm
I
curious.
did. I was reading them, and some people really liked it, and I was just like, what? So
It's like
those
one of those
people
books
aren't
where
my
you,
friends.
it's like one of those books where it's like you can't believe anyone would actually like it.
Right. I just didn't see anything in it, you know.
Yeah.
It just kept getting worse and worse.
It's like every chapter you read, oops, that goes another star.
Literally, it was just like more and more was going wrong with it. It was like at first I was like, oh, I don't really like the writing, or I didn't like that it kept making pop culture references. That got so annoying because it would be like 5 references on one page. And I'm like, bro, like take a rest. And then it was just like it would get into like these really bizarre like twists that didn't make any sense. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on and not in a good way. And then the final straw was the end in relationship. I thought they might have fixed it in the end. But the way
But no.
it ended up, it was just like so creepy and like unredeeming. Like
Yeah.
it was just like a little more effort that could have been so much a better plot and not as like problematic as it was. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was like they weren't like the original characters, but it was like people who were very obviously Scooby Doo characters. I feel like it was written in a way that they didn't want to get copyrighted. But yeah, so it was pretty much the Daphne and Velma, Delma and Daphne, um, the the Daphne and Velma characters. Yes, they do get together.
Hmm. Which one was the one that, was a lesbian?
It was like because both of the characters were kind of like parts of both Daphne and Velma, if that makes sense. So like the main character was like um I don't even remember what her name was like, but I remember like the love interest was like she was like the astute person who wore glasses, and she also had like beautiful long orange hair and was fashionable. So she was kind of a bit of both. Um yeah. It was weird.
Wow.
Yeah, literally.
Sounds like it. I'm so
Literally.
glad. I mean, I never heard of that before you told me about it, but I'm so glad you read it so that I know not to read it.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
one
read
good thing
it.
that came out of the book. You can warn people about it.
Right. I mean, you guys can read it if you want, but if you're disappointed, like I told you, like I don't know what you expected.
I have. When you first told me you were gonna read that, I was like, "There's a Scooby Doo retelling. Oh, I'm gonna have to pick that
Right.
up." And then you told me how bad it was. I was like, "Oh crap, that sounds just
So
horrible."
disappointed. I like bought it at full price too. I'm so mad. Like
Wow. I bet you've never been that disappointed with a book ever.
I honestly haven't. I've had other disappointments, but like not. That's like the only 1 star rating I've given to date. Because like every other book that I was disappointed in was somewhat redeeming. That one wasn't. I was like, I can't imagine anyone liking this book.
Wow. I wonder if some people literally just liked it because of the nostalgia of Scooby Doo.
Maybe like
I can still see that happening.
I feel like it could be a very self-indulgent read to like very specific people if they're like, I really like Scooby-Doo and like 90s nostalgia and like Cthulhu was pretty much like the main conflict of the book. So like there's probably people who are really into that and really like that aspect, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Basically. You want to do a sprint?
Yes, let's do it.
How about
So
30 after?
sounds good. All right.
Happy reading.
Happy reading, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
How was your sprint?
Pretty good. I got to 129, so I'm probably about halfway through the book.
Nice.
Yeah.
You might finish it today or at least tomorrow.
I'm probably not gonna read any more tonight, so probably tomorrow I'll finish it. But yeah, it's been a really quick read.
Is it getting any better?
It's gotten a little better. I did have a small chuckle at one part, so I'm glad it made me laugh. And then there's some just like general like weirdness in it that I'm kind of enjoying. It just adds a nice flavor to it. Um, so I'm thinking maybe 4 stars for this one. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, this book made me laugh a few times. It's not a comedy or anything, it's fantasy, obviously, but some of the characters can be very sarcastic and sassy, and it just makes me laugh when they make their little snickers. And there's these
That's
twins.
awesome.
They're soldiers, and they always bicker and make these little remarks toward each other, and I just love it.
Yeah, nice. Do you think those are your favorite characters, or do you have a favorite character in the
I do
book?
have a favorite character. It was my same favorite character in Shadow and Bone, which is
Mm-hmm.
David.
Nice.
I don't know how much you know about Shadow and Bone.
I barely know anything
Well,
about it.
I love David. I swear he has. I'm pretty sure he has Asperger's syndrome.
Oh,
Asperger's,
okay.
which I love
Yeah.
that representation.
Yeah, I don't get to see that too often,
Yeah, neither
so
do I. And it's never actually said, but I mean, I know the traits of Asperger's, and he
hmm
definitely shares those traits.
nice.
But he's just such a great character, and I love him.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh, we have some comments.
Hi,
Yeah,
Anne.
glad you can make it. I think I've actually heard the title of these Silent Woods.
It sounds
I don't know what
familiar,
it's about,
but I
but
can't think of what it is. Silent
yeah,
One.
but the title does sound familiar.
All I got was The Silent Woods, which I don't think is the same thing. But yeah, it does sound. Oh no, The Silent Woods is what it's called. I'm stupid.
No, you're
The
not.
Silent Woods. I'm being silly then.
Aren't we all?
Oh, okay, so it's crime fiction. Ooh, sounds like
Something
a
my
good
mom would
time.
like.
Yeah,
A crime
honestly.
story. Good
Thanks for
night.
joining us,
Thanks for
Brenda.
joining.
Have a good. Glad that you got some reading done too.
Yeah, glad you're enjoying this. She's going through the series faster than I expected, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
it took me a bit longer to even get into this series. I'm honestly surprised she's getting into it really quickly.
Mhm. Thanks for joining
Thanks
us,
for
JV.
joining
You're
us.
probably gone, but it was so good to see you.
30 pages is pretty great.
Yeah. And this time it was without an app, so
Yeah.
she got more done.
I'm not sure. I think we're done with these sprints. We're probably going to be wrapping up here shortly.
Yeah, definitely. I'm starting to get tired. But
Same.
thanks for popping in, Tina.
Yeah. Uh, we'll probably do reading sprints eventually again.
It would
Um,
be nice to, yeah.
yeah. We will be doing writing sprints on Monday on my channel, and if you don't write, you can always read instead.
hmm Yeah, we have
So
quite a few people who read
yeah.
instead of writing on those.
But we do these writing sprints every Monday. We bounce off between each other's channels, so you can always join for one of those. Yay, that's great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It looks like you just started. Yeah, it seems like everyone's enjoying their reads. No 1 or 2 stars yet.
I know I've been having a really good reading year so far. I've
That's
read 11
good.
books so far, which is a lot for me. I read a couple like middle grade though, so that goes by a little faster. But I've been 4 to 5 stars on every book so far.
That's
So
great.
yeah.
Yeah. Um I mean, Seekers and I think Harry Potter's middle grade, isn't it?
I think so, which I
Um,
don't think of it as, but like I've seen
well,
it
I
in
think
the middle grade section.
true. Honestly,
And I
I think
started reading it when I was like in
yeah,
elementary
I
school
feel like a
too.
lot of people do. At least a lot of people our age. But
Yeah.
I feel like at least the beginning books definitely have the middle grade vibe, but it does
Yeah.
get pretty dark after Goblet of Fire.
Right.
It gets dark, too dark for a middle grade. So I
I
don't know.
I feel like yeah, probably Goblet of Fire is kind of the turning point there because that's like the
Cedric's
first like
death is the
major
turning point.
character death. Yeah.
Cedric
So
dies, and then Voldemort is back, and it's just like everything changes. It's a
and
huge
then
turning point.
it starts to feel more like a young adult then.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, the beginning was kind of more had a cozy feel to it, but that
Yeah.
quickly changes once things really get
Especially
serious.
like when I watch the movies, I feel like the first two movies are like so like fun and colorful
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
like cozy, and then
Even
the
the
third movie
aesthetic
it
changes.
starts moving towards more darkness. So
Yeah, if you look at the Warner Bros. Logo on it, throughout the
mhm.
movies, they get darker and darker.
Because the movies get darker and darker.
Even
That's
the aesthetic of
okay.
it, like the first two movies were just so bright and cheerful and colorful,
Yeah.
but then boom, it's like everything is just dark. It's like that colorful vibe was just gone the minute the Dementors came.
Right. Yeah. It's so weird, but like it makes sense at the same time. It really appropriately changes with the books. So, but I still kind of like the earlier aesthetic probably because of the nostalgia. Like
True.
obviously the first movie I saw at a very young age and instantly connected with it.
Yeah,
So, I have a
but
lot of warm feelings towards
yeah,
it.
true. But I've been rereading both Harry Potter and Seekers, and I feel like rereads go by faster because you do know what's going on and you love it, so it goes by faster
Mhm.
because you know
That
you
makes
like
sense.
it. So
Chapter 6 of Mistborn, Final
nice.
Empire. I haven't heard of that one.
I think I've heard of
Sounds like a
Mistborn.
fantasy?
I think so.
Mistborn?
It sounds
Oh.
fancy.
Oh, Brandon Sanderson. Okay.
Ah, that's why I've heard the name. Okay.
I have not read anything by him, but
Neither have
eventually I
I.
will.
I might check one of his books out just because I feel like he's become such an iconic fantasy author lately. I've been
Yeah.
hearing more and more about him ever since I joined BookTube.
Me too. Same. That's why I recognize the name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
agreed. Because the first two at the least are probably middle grade, and maybe a little bit of Prisoner of Azkaban because yeah, it does start to take a little of a darker turn, but it's not really until Goblet of Fire with that dark turn really, gets all dark.
Right, yeah.
I still feel like it's Cedric's death that's the big turning point.
I think so because like that is the first character death in the
Yeah,
series. I mean, there's like obviously Harry's parents were dead before the book begins,
yeah,
but it's the first like on screen on page character death, and plus it's a child. Cedric is a
exactly.
teenager. Like that's what makes it so much more brutal, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like how he died, trying to protect Harry.
Yeah, he
Is
was pretty
also
much
proof.
just in the wrong place at the wrong
Yeah,
time,
exactly.
which
And
is the worst part.
yeah, definitely. It's also proof that people are wrong about Hufflepuff. People are like, Hufflepuff's the weak house. Not true. Not true.
No.
Just because we value kindness and loyalty doesn't mean we're weak. If anything, it makes
Right.
us stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a proud Hufflepuff.
I've noticed.
What house are you? I don't remember if you told
I'm
me.
I'm identify as Slytherin. I think I did get started as Slytherin too on the like what was the like website that they had for a while? I don't know if it's still around.
Pottermore?
Pottermore? Yeah, I got started in Slytherin there too. And I feel like that's pretty suitable. I feel like I'm very ambitious at least. I always have really big goals and am driven to get to them. So
I'm very ambitious too.
mhm.
I feel like there's like that fine line from ambitious to just plain out cunning.
Yeah, I try not to cut other people down. I want all of us to succeed, but
I am very ambitious, though. Obviously,
yeah,
I published my first book at 20. I had to be a little
exactly.
ambitious to do that.
Right. No, I agree.
But Hufflepuff, I like I follow all the Hufflepuff traits. Like I'm loyal, I'm kind, I'm hardworking, I'm determined. So
Definitely, yeah. I see that. My best friend's a Hufflepuff, so yeah.
every Slytherin needs their Hufflepuff. My best friend's a Slytherin too, Alyssa.
Exactly. Honestly, it is
Yep,
the ideal dynamic.
exactly. You're the Slytherin with their Hufflepuff. I'm the Hufflepuff with my Slytherin.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're middle grade, but they're kind of violent and
Never
dark
heard
in
of
some
them.
places. I haven't heard of them either. I am like not with it with the current like middle grade trends. Mostly I read like middle grade that was around when I was younger.
Same,
Um
same.
see yeah, so like as far as like new middle grade series, I don't know.
Like,
Oh wait, this one looks like a oh, it was published 2012. Yeah, I was in senior year of high school.
yeah,
So a
like
little old for it.
yeah, just a little bit. I still like middle grade though. Sometimes,
Me too,
like
yeah. I
I
do
still
enjoy
read
reading it.
Seekers and Harry Potter and Warriors, and that's all middle grade. Then I still read Monster High Ghoul Friends. That's a great one.
That's definitely middle grade, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
one of
I
my
read one
favorites.
of them. I think I told you about it. Yeah, I might reread it for the Monster I Readathon. We'll see
You
because I still
should.
have it.
We could do a buddy read of that series.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have a buddy read with you. Just reread that series.
I only read one book of it. I never read all of them, but
You
it's a very
should.
quick read, so we could easily do the whole
Yes.
series. If I can, I need to see if I can get them at the library though, because I
Yeah.
can't buy books right now. But I'll look and see if I can get them.
If you
We
can
should do
find
the
them, just let
series.
me know, and then we'll schedule our buddy read because
Yeah.
that will be a lot of fun. I
Otherwise,
always
unless
love
you want
rereading
to
that
only read the one, because I only own one of them, because my sister bought it for me.
series. Well, there's 4 books, and I love all 4 of them. They're really good. And they
Hmm.
did kind of leave it off for the potential of a 5th book, but they never made one.
Oh,
I'm thinking about making a fan fiction for the 5th book.
you totally should. That would be cool. Oh, I didn't know it was graphic novels.
I didn't either.
That's cool.
I'm not a graphic novel person. I mean, I have nothing against them. I'm just not big with graphic novels, comics, manga. I'll read them every
Yeah.
so often. If I think the only manga I've read was Seekers because they had 2 mangas in the series, and
Mhm.
obviously I would read those because I'm so obsessed with Seekers.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't read comics, but I do want to read the Avatar and Legend of Korra comics just because I love those shows so much. I
Didn't
want to
they
find out what
make
happened afterwards.
I feel like they made comics for one of the other avatars. I can't think of her name. It was the Earthbending avatar.
There's a
Kyoshi.
novel of Kyoshi. It's a
Oh, okay.
duology. I own the first one. I haven't read it yet though.
I
But
want to
yeah,
read those, but I
me
haven't been
too.
able to find them. But I love Kyoshi, and I want to learn more about her.
Yeah.
So,
The first one I found at Barnes and Noble.
okay, I'll have to go. I haven't been to Barnes and Nobles in ages.
Maybe you can find them in the library. I'm not sure, but
I could see because I feel like the library's gotten better with
yeah.
graphic novel selection. But
Well,
yeah,
this is
I'll look
actually a
and see.
novel.
And
It's not a
now, okay.
It's a novel. It's a duology. I own the first book, not the second. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that because I want to read it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I actually just posted, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, really recent. I posted a 5 star prediction video,
I
and
have that
I
on
had
my watch later. Yeah.
yeah, I mentioned the Kyoshi because I feel like because I love Avatar so much, and Kyoshi's probably my 3rd favorite Avatar after Aang and Korra. So I'm very excited for it.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe eventually she'll read the chapter
Yeah,
books.
I mean, that's fine for her if she likes graphic novels. I mean, everyone has their own preferences. I mean,
At least she's reading,
yeah,
you
right.
know?
There's some people that won't even read, so at least she reads.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Interesting.
Is
Yeah,
that another
Hufflepuff gang.
Hufflepuff?
Team Hufflepuff. Aw, such a young
Yeah.
age. Well, yeah, when she gets older, she might get more into novels. That's still a pretty young
Yeah.
age. But at least she likes to read at that young age. My
Right.
brother likes to read. He still doesn't really know how to read. He's 6. But he likes to try to read. I had given. I
Oh.
used to. Do you know those junior novellas or whatever they would be called? They're like of a movie or
Um.
something. Junior novels, I guess they're
I
called.
I I think so. Like
Well,
I can faintly remember them.
I used to own one of High School Musical 2 and Descendants, and I gave them to my siblings. I own one of Julie and the Phantoms, and I may or may not give it to them after I read it. It depends.
Oh.
Yeah. Um, but he is currently reading the Descendants one. I even gave him a bookmark that I don't really use, a Harry Potter bookmark, because he likes Harry Potter.
That's
I got him
cute.
into Harry Potter too. And none of my other siblings like to read, okay? So when my mom was pregnant with him, I was like, you know what? This child's gonna read like me. So I read to him in the womb when my mom was
Yes.
pregnant with him. So I kind of trained him when he was a fetus. But now he loves to read. He loves when I read to him. He loves to sit next to me as we read our separate books. It's really cute.
That's awesome.
Nice. Ah. So is it still going? I didn't know it was still ongoing.
I guess so. That sounds like kind of a long series if it started in 2012. It's been going on for 10 years. But it takes a while to write books, as we know. Oh, and okay, so they have both the graphic novel and chapter books
Okay.
versions, which makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Hunter does that. With Seekers, there was 2 mangas. With Warriors, that's the one series they probably got famous off of. It's the most popular. There's like the actual series, the arcs, and then there's super editions. There's novellas, and then there's mangas. So
Yeah, covers all bases. Nice.
nice.
Cool.
I'm very excited for the Korra one because one of the one of the comics is of shows more of Korra and Asami's relationship after the show, and I really want to see more of it to get to see their
That's
first kiss and them
good.
as a couple. I'm so excited for that. With the Avatar one, I even though I'm really excited, I am a little wary just because I do not ship Katara and Aang even a little bit. Every time they
Hmm.
kissed on the show, it was cringy. I was like, nope. I'm a Katara and Zuko shipper. But I'm still excited for it because I love the story overall.
I feel like if the graphic novel is just going to be like play by play of the show, I'd rather just watch the show, I think. Because there's so
Well,
much nostalgia for me in watching Avatar too,
yeah,
because
but
I
actually,
grew up on
yeah,
it.
yeah, true. But the comics are actually based after. It's
Oh,
supposed to be their
so
adventures
they're a different
afterwards.
story.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I know there's one. I think all of the comics are like in 3 parts, and they're all
Hmm.
different stories. There's like one called the Search, one called the Promise. There's one that is about them finding Zuko's mom. That's
That's
all I
so
really know of
cool.
it,
I
but yeah,
always wanted to see that plot play out. I felt so
yeah.
robbed of it in the show.
Well, now you can finally see it once you get the
Right.
comics,
It should have been the like Zuko and Toph bonding episode that we never
right?
got.
Yeah, she never got her field trip with Zuko.
Yeah, that was so funny. I love that show though. I like horror, but like Avatar's like way more beloved to me just because I grew up on it.
I love both shows for different reasons. I do feel like Korra is a little bit more grown up. I mean, for one, the characters are older. Second, and
Yeah,
also because I just feel like it, Avatar was kind of a bit darker for a child show, but I feel like Korra just was a lot darker than even Avatar was. So
I think Korra definitely had its moments, but yeah, it did kind of feel like overall a more serious show, and I kind of liked that Avatar was a little more on the silly side, that
Yeah,
it was such a
Korra
good
did get a little
story,
more
but it
serious.
also was entertaining and
Yeah,
funny at times and cute. Like
definitely.
I really liked that balance.
Yeah, with but I also feel like with Korra, I mean, I feel like Korra. I mean, I love Korra and Aang for different reasons. They're both great avatars. I didn't like Korra at first, but she grew on me once she grew up and matured and stuff. But
Mhm.
I feel like her character was just so much more realistic because I
Mhm.
feel like they put Aang way too much on this like high pedestal, and he was
Mhm.
like this goody two shoes who did no wrong and stuff, who didn't make mistakes or whatnot. Uh, and then there was Korra, who seemed like she always made mistakes and stuff, and she was just so much more believable as a protagonist, and I really enjoyed that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I feel like on Avatar, there's never any, as much as people got hurt and stuff, that nothing was ever ended up being too serious. Nothing lasted more than an episode. With Avatar, Korra literally ended up in a wheelchair, which I really liked that.
Right. Yeah.
Aw,
Oh.
that's sweet. Yeah, us bookworms are just going to reach to our children to make them bookworms too.
Yeah, there's so many books. I'm like, I'm gonna force this on a kid if I ever have one. Like, yeah, I'm not into that.
I never shipped Katara and Aang. I feel like they were always had this brother sister dynamic, and yeah, Aang had a crush on her, but I always felt like Aang's crush on her wasn't actually that he had real feelings for her. It was just this infatuation. It's like he put her in this high pedestal. He believed her to be this, great person because she was very beautiful and older, and she was also the very first thing he saw when he opened his eyes. So I feel like that moment kind of plagued his crush on her, and it wasn't even that he had real feelings for her. And then with Katara is concerned, I just feel like she always saw him as a little brother. I feel like, and besides that relationship felt very forced and rushed, especially at the end, because I felt
Mhm.
like they were like Katara was insisted on the fact that uh she, that she liked him as a little brother. But then last 5 minutes was like, oops, nope, I like him like this. Like, no, no,
It wasn't believable for me,
no.
but like for me, like I saw Aang's feelings towards Katara as like a childhood crush.
Yes,
Like it makes sense to me why Aang would like Katara, but it doesn't make sense to me why Katara would like Aang,
exactly.
like you said, anything more than a younger brother figure.
I know. It's exactly, and it's like, I mean, yeah, they're only 2 years apart, but I saw
She's
this post.
14 and he's 12. That's so
Exactly,
weird.
exactly. No 14-year-old has a crush on a 12-year-old. They
She's
just
a
don't.
freshman with a middle schooler, literally a high school
Yeah.
freshman with a middle
I
schooler.
mean,
That's
would you be into a 12-year-old when you were 14?
absolutely not. No, I was looking at the older students in high school. Yeah, I wasn't the seniors.
Yeah. And I mean, and I just feel like Katara and Zuko's arc was just so much better done as well. I feel like
Mhm.
it could have been a great enemies to lovers if they would have just had them get together.
And they really teased it too,
Yeah,
which I
and
really liked.
yes, and I feel like, and the only reason, well, I swear, the only reason why they ended up getting Aang and Katara together, because it's like the hero has to get the girl, even though
Yeah.
that's sexist in itself, and it doesn't even work that way all the time. Just because you're the hero doesn't mean you're gonna get the girl you want. It doesn't
Right.
work like that, because she might not have feelings for you. Like the whole talk about the Scooby Doo retelling, how and because she forced herself on that girl, and Aang, there
Mhm.
were scenes. I love Egg, and he is a great person, but he wasn't perfect as some people make him believe. He did try to force himself on Katara a few times. Like when he
Yeah.
tried to kiss her, and she was like, "Didn't I just say I was confused?" And she ran off.
Mhm.
Like that was a
Right,
red flag
yeah.
right there.
That's cool. Yeah, I'd be interested in reading those just for like the storyline, especially
Yeah.
like there's so much that like happens between like the end of Avatar until the beginning of Legend of Korra. I
Yeah.
would kind of like to see a little more of that timeline filled
Yeah.
in a bit.
Yeah, I saw a someone say I really want a show with the Avatar characters, but they're like adults. So it's like kind of in between Avatar
Yes.
and Legend of Korra.
I would like to see that because I even enjoyed like in Korra I enjoyed like what's his name, Tenzin,
Oh yeah.
Aang's son. I enjoyed like the kind of adult plots going on there. So I would love to see, yeah, like grown up Aang, grown up Katara, grown up
Yeah.
Toph, grown up Sokka and Suki, and what they got up to, you
Yeah.
know.
And I found it interesting that you found out that Tenzin and Lin, Toph's daughter, used to date, and it's like look
Yeah.
at Toph's children dated. Like that's just
But like I feel like with their personalities, I can definitely see why those two would get on. Like as a romantic
they're,
couple.
they're like so opposite. It works.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have a hard time picturing Toph as a mom though. As much as I liked her, what was it, Lynn, yeah, was her daughter. And she had another daughter too, I can't remember her
Julian.
name. Yeah. I can't picture Toph being a mom ever. She just doesn't seem like the type.
Motherly type. Well, both her
Yeah.
daughters did have issues with her, probably because she wasn't the motherly type.
Right.
But I
It
feel
felt
like
like
it's,
it was forced, in my opinion, but
I
whatever.
feel I feel like it would have been one of those things where it was like she never wanted to be a mom, but then it just happened, and she just kept the
Probably.
children. I just feel
Yeah.
because I feel like Toph would be one of those people, one of those women who didn't want a child, which was totally okay. You know, not all
Yeah.
women have to have children.
That's definitely how I like interpret her character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so they do get to grow up a little bit then.
Still don't like the idea of Katara and
Yeah, I feel like I would like that better if it was like maybe Aang is like,
14
or
at
like,
least.
yeah, like late teens maybe even, like if they were like maybe young adults, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
I still
it
think
is what
Katara
it
should have
is.
ended up with Zuko.
Yeah,
I'm planning a fan fiction where they're together.
I was gonna say right, a fanfic.
Yes. Because they should have been together. Good night. Thanks for
Thanks for joining us,
joining. We're
and
probably going to be signing off here in a minute, anyways.
right, yeah, I'm like, oof, I'm feeling the exhaustion, but I got a lot of reading done, so I'm
Yeah, me
pretty
too.
pleased
That's
with
good.
this. Yeah.
And we'll definitely have to plan another reading sprint. Maybe you could do it on your channel next time we do it.
Sure. Yeah. We'll
Awesome.
see what next week looks like for me, maybe. Well, okay, we'll plan it, I guess, on Monday. After while we're doing our sprints, we
Yeah.
can check in and see what day we can do the reading sprint, maybe.
Yeah, nice. Fun.
All
So
right.
yeah, everyone, don't forget to join the writing sprints if you guys want to get some writing and or reading done.
Mhm.
We do them every Monday, so don't miss us.
Yeah.
Subscribe to both channels if you don't want to miss out on the notifications because we bounce off of each other's channels. Do you have any videos plan coming up?
I just posted the one video today, which is both my TBR and talking about nominations for the subjectively chaotic kind of awards. And then I'm going to be doing. I'm gonna try to do reading vlogs. I've never done them before. But I'll be doing that for all the nominations that I read.
Yay!
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm going to be doing that one, the first video of that series where I talk about underrated series, and it will be Seekers, obviously, because I wanted Seekers to be the first one I did, obviously.
Hmm.
So, look out for that because now that I finished my reread of the first arc, that video should be up shortly-ish whenever I actually, film it. But that's the only video I can think of off the top of my head. Besides my reading and writing vlog that'll be going out tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining me, Robin.
Thank you for hosting tonight.
Always.
Thanks
Can't
to
wait for
everyone
next
who
time.
joined us. Yes, look forward to it.
Yeah. See everyone Monday.
Have a good night.
Good night.